Hello, welcome to my third lesson in the series about land and water forms. Our first one was about lakes and islands, and the second one was about capes and bays. If you have not watched those lessons already, go ahead and turn this off and go watch them, and then come back and watch this one. Because today we're going to learn about our third set of land and water forms, the peninsula and the Gulf. Now, I gave you a hint in the last video about peninsulas and gulfs, and here you can see the Gulf of Mexico. Now, a gulf is a long, narrow inlet of water extending out into the land. And you might say, well, the Gulf of Mexico doesn't look very narrow, but the reason for that is that we can't see the whole thing. The country of Mexico comes down here and cuts across and borders this gulf to make it a little skinnier. And also, the main important part of a gulf is that it has a narrow neck, the entrance to the gulf. And the Gulf of Mexico does have that. It's hard to see on this map. What I'm going to do is when we're done, I'm going to show you another picture that shows it a little better. But the Gulf of Mexico is to the south of the United States. It's next to Texas and Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. Now, Florida is our other form we're learning today, our land form. It's called a peninsula, and it's a long, narrow piece of land that extends out into the water. Here we have the Atlantic Ocean, and here we have the Gulf of Mexico, and Florida sticks right out into them. So let me show you those with our clay so you can really see what they look like. And then we'll come back and talk about the map a little more. I'm going to put my computer down so you can see. Here's my land. I'm going to make this a big, nice piece of land in this bowl. And then over in this bowl we have the water. So what sticks out into the land is the Gulf. So I'm going to make a gulf in my land. Right. So now I've cut out a piece of my land, and now my land has a gulf. And it needs to have water in it. That is my gulf. Now you might notice that the word gulf sounds like golf, which is a sport that people play where they have a small white ball that they hit with clubs. And that is not the same word as gulf, because gulf has a U in it, whereas golf is spelled with an O. They do sound alike. Now, if I take my piece of land that I cut out of there, and I stick it over here into the water, and now I need to make sure you know that this part over here is more land, because my peninsula is stuck to land on one side. It's bounded by water on three sides, but on one side it's stuck to land, just like our gulf is stuck to water on one side and has land on three sides. So this is called a peninsula. The peninsula is a long, narrow neck of land extending out into the water. We have peninsula and gulf. You can make a peninsula and a gulf on your own out of materials you find in your yard or in your house. And then send me a picture. I'd love to see it. But you can also write the words in your notebook, and you can draw a peninsula and a gulf, or you can cut them out of paper. I'm trying to fix my paper so I can show you where I already cut it out. So here is my green paper, and I'm going to cut you a new one. You know, I sometimes have to make these videos a couple times because I mess up. Bet you can't believe that. And so I already cut those, but I'm just going to make you a new one because it doesn't. I got my yellow, green, and blue paper, and I put them together, put the two pieces right together, and I cut out my land and water forms, and I'm going to switch them and put them back. So now I have sticking out into my water, my peninsula, and sticking out into my land, my Gulf. And I can just glue them right down in my book where I already wrote my definition. A peninsula is a long, narrow neck of land extending into the water. I'm going to put it going up and down. They don't always go up and down. They can go sideways. These landforms are on the earth, and waterforms, they can go any way. And then I can glue down my Gulf. Now I have my next page of my book. So you might remember our Lincoln Island, and our Cape and Bay. So capes and bays are basically the same shape as gulfs and peninsulas, but they're just, the peninsula and the Gulf are bigger, longer. So you can write that in your own notebook, and if you don't have paper, you can just draw a picture. I would love to see what you do. So back to the Gulf of Mexico. It's a troublesome gulf because it doesn't look exactly like our definition says. But if you look at it here, in this picture, you can see that the entrance is here, and it's a narrow entrance compared to the rest of it. And then this gulf kind of comes in here and is curved around a little bit. Up here is the United States. Whoops. The United States, and then down here is the country of Mexico and the other countries of Central America that make up the border of the Gulf of Mexico. So I would invite you, because it was a little hard to see on my phone, to go ahead and look it up. Ask your mom to look up the Gulf of Mexico on a computer, and you can look at the map yourself. You could also search for other gulfs on the map. There's one called the Persian Gulf, which is over in Asia and Europe and Africa. It's right on the edge of those three. And but you can find it. So have a good time making your peninsulas and gulfs, and let me see what you do. Bye.